Hello, hello, hello. Breaking barriers. Unapologetically, I hope all is well with each and every last one of you. I am excited. It is the Monday, and I want to be able to give you a motivational message to get your week started. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite a couple of people into the room, and then I am going to go ahead and share this out. But this is one thing that we will do in this room here. We are all about support. We are all about uplifting one another. We are all about sharing, and just growing together. And this is not a judgment zone. And so when I thought about doing this topic today of building relationships, it made me think of a lot of things. And so as many people have approached me about my business and not only my business, but just in life in general, because I'm always talking about relationships, I want to be able to give you a little bit more of an insight of building those relationships. So if you are a replayer viewer, if this is your first time, let me know. I'm here in bipolar Chicago. This weather is crazy. And so I'm just going to invite a couple of you guys on in real quick to give you a little insight of me. And then if you are liking this video, feel free to comment below, also share it out, and we're going to go ahead and get this party started, all right? So one of the things that I think about when it's time for building relationships, oftentimes you guys in here, I'm always asking you guys, what are your goals? What are those things that you struggle with in your life? What are those things that you seem that you keep battling with constantly, right? What are those things? And I want to be able to give you an insight a little bit more on how you too can be able to understand the importance of relationships. We think that relationships only is for just family. No, it's really not. Sometimes in family, we don't even understand the importance of having the conversation of how we could communicate to one another, how we could be able to sit in the same room with someone who we have so many disagreements with. How can we be able to move past that? And I often find that too many of us, we get in these positions, in a place in our life where we constantly, when I say constantly, we constantly transfer that over into our adult life. Is that making sense? We transfer it over into our adult life. And now that we have transferred this behavior into our adult life, this is what we battle with when we cannot even communicate with one another. We are too afraid because fear. We have been disappointed, being let down by those that we thought that we love, and those that they shared that they loved us, but then they let us down. And when they let us down, it left us in a place of discomfort. Not only left us in a place of discomfort, it left us in a place that now we cannot communicate like we should. So building those relationships is very, very important. It's vital, because if you're having a struggle now in your personal life of building those relationships, you will have that same struggle when it's time for you to be able to move forward in a relationship in your adult life or even in a business. So I want to be able to tell you how I was able to understand the most important thing of building that relationship, coming from a place of dysfunction, coming from a place of where yelling, screaming matches, nobody heard each other. That was a huge problem, right? And so as it being a huge problem, nobody understood to take the time out to say, okay, enough is enough. How can we be able to have a conversation, a civilized conversation, so we can move past the point where I want to have a conversation with you. I want to know how you're feeling. How did I hurt your feelings? Better yet, how can I make sure that I don't do this again? Because maybe sometimes You didn't even recognize that you hurted someone's feelings. And now it made them standoffish to be able to have a conversation with you. Better yet, it put up the block so you could be able to say, well, I didn't know I did something wrong. So now you are having the same feelings that they are having. But at the end of the day, both of you guys have something that's similar. It's a misunderstanding. So when you have a misunderstanding, you have to understand who's going to be the person that's going to use wisdom to be able to say, you know what? Let's talk about this thing. Let's really talk it out. And when you talk it out, that means you're talking to each other, not at each other. You're talking to each other and not at each other. And this will be able to open up the door of communication so we don't be able to tear down the next person. Right? So if you're not willing to be able to tear down the next person, be open to sit down and have a conversation with that person to say, you know what? I understand now. But at the same time, even if you didn't understand, you're open to learn how you could be able to improve certain things in a conversation with people. Because I remember when I was growing up, we always yelled. Everybody, we always yelled. And so one of the things that I had to learn is that nobody's being heard. You didn't hear what I said, even if it was I'm sorry in that screaming match. You didn't really hear it because you automatically heard the other words besides I'm sorry. So let's build a relationship in a type of a way where we could start building up that trust again, building up that way where I'm an open door where you could be comfortable enough to be able to have a conversation with me, but not only have a conversation with me where even if it's constructive criticism, that I'm going to be okay with constructive criticism. Is that okay? Too often we keep the guard up when we really don't have to have the guard up. Take a moment to take the guard down so you can hear what the next person have to say so you can be able to grow and learn from the mistake that you may not even know was a mistake. I hope this really helps someone. And I'm telling you this is because as adults, especially women, we hold on to some things that we need to let go. We're too afraid to let that thing go because we still remember the last conversation that we had with that person that hurt us. And now that we have that last conversation that with that person, we still playing. It's like we playing a cassette tape of rewinding it back and forth, over and over again. And now when it's time to be able to possibly have the potential of building another relationship with another woman, we automatically looking at them sideways because we have already had bad experiences with other people. I want to tell you this. Yes, I have had terrible experience with some people, but at the same time, I have horrible experience with people in my family. And if I could be able to learn how to forgive them, why I cannot learn how to forgive other people? Because sometimes we make mistakes and don't even know that we made a mistake. Better yet, they have yet to learn how to be able to have a conversation because somebody have not stopped them to be able to say, that's not how you communicate. Is that making sense? So I want you to be able to really be honest with yourself that I did that. Raise your hand if you've done that. I did, right? And so with me doing that, it allowed me to be able to take a self-evaluation check on myself, to be open enough to be able to say, you know what? I need to have a conversation, a civilized conversation without the screaming match, a civilized conversation where I'm listening, a civilized conversation where even though I'm frustrated and what you said don't make any sense, but I'm willing to be open enough to be able to respond effectively so we could be able to be on the same page. We may not agree, but we have to come to a common ground where we could agree to disagree, but respect each other at the same time and not take that on to the next person because the last person have done you wrong. I want you to take consideration what I just said. And if you take consideration what I said, take a self-evaluation check for yourself so you could be able to do better because there's better that's in you, but you don't understand that there's better in you because you're too busy still holding and harboring on to what somebody done said in the past. Learn how to let those things go. And if you can learn how to let those things go, you'll be really, really surprised how much you could really grow. So I hope this was able to help someone. And if this was able to help someone, I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. I'm looking forward to just continue to share with you those things that have helped me to be able to move forward in my own life, in my own growing experience, that took me to a place where I could sit down and have a conversation with other people without holding on and taking those same toxic situations and relationships in my past into my future. Because those things that you can't deal with in your personal life, you're darn sure not going to be able to deal with it in your adult life. Okay, so my name is Vanessa Canterbury. I am the CEO of Breaking Barriers Unapologetically. Feel free to comment below. Feel free to follow us on all social platforms, Breaking Barriers Unapologetically, and on our YouTube channel as well. I look forward to hearing from you. I hope this was able to really help you to understand the importance of building relationships. It's not just in life. It's just not in business. It's an overall that really affect you in a good way or a bad way. It all depends on how you take it, and how you deal with it. Okay. So again, my name is Vanessa Canterbury. Feel free to go over to Breaking Barriers Unapologetically and find out more things that's coming up with our conference that's going to be taking place in Bowie, Maryland in August of this year. I hope to hear from you guys soon. In the meantime, between time, be blessed, and remember, the power of building relationships start with you being involved in the conversation. Talk to you soon.